Hey, we are back. Welcome to the OHMazing Way podcast. Beth Reese here, and I'm here with Randi Jo Greenberg, and she is in Park City, Utah. So if you live there, or you are planning to visit there this summer, or planning to come to the Yogi's training in June, you can get a hold of Randi Jo on her website at yoga.with.randijo.com, and her name is spelled Randijo. And so on the break, I mentioned to Randi Jo that so the time that I've known Randi Jo, she was married and then divorced, but this is after what she was just sharing with us. And so I've asked, I want to kind of pick up there, Randi Jo, with as you are, so we've met. We had the training in Park City, Utah, and then you're starting to teach more and more kids yoga, but you use the word dabble, like you're kind of just dabbling in it. And then kind of take it from there. Like what are the paths you traversed with yoga and on and off the mat in your life?
Well, so what happened from there was as my daughter started to grow, I just followed her. I was just a mom basically following my kid with a part-time gig. I followed her to preschool and I taught yoga at her preschool. And then, she went to elementary school. So I went to the elementary school and said, could I teach yoga? And it just became that. It became well, she's here and I can do this because she's in school and the timing works. It just became a convenience thing. And more and more just sort of running my life that way. Where can what I do fit in with what's convenient and, make a little money maybe on the side was what I was doing. It wasn't really a career path. It was just that. And little by little, my second marriage began to go kaplooey in a whole different way. And it was a whole different experience for me. I went into this and experienced it in a way where I had tools, which I had never had before. I had feelings that I could connect with. I physically and mentally could see, I could observe, I could feel what was happening. And I knew not what to do about it, but how to work with it and how to be kind to myself. And, reading the books and really getting an understanding of what to do with what I was learning and talking and listening and just being present to the experience I was having, and what happened was I started to really understand what I loved and what brought me to life. And it became this kids yoga thing. I felt it and I started to want to really make it happen. And it became more of a place of creativity, a place of joy, a place of doing what felt like I wanted to do this, not because I needed money or it fit into the right time slot or it was convenient to where my kid was at the time. It was about, wow, I love this and I want to do more of this and I want to bring more of this into my life and into others' lives. And so I just started teaching more places and doing it in different ways. That's when I started really bringing the mindfulness in with the kids' classes and into the schools and into the teaching. And it was more about self-care and being present and trying to find joy in what I did for a living and what I did, on and off the mat. So taking the stuff that I knew from books and from experimenting and from teaching and walking that walk. So, going off my mat into the world and with friends and with, then going to things like the figure skating club and saying, this could be great for, sports, not just a yoga class. This could be great for, you know, kids who are having a hard time on the playground. This could be great for, and just really teaching and being in the moment and trying to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And Randi Jo, so you've been teaching kids yoga for a while in studios, different places like with the figure skating club, as you mentioned, and also in schools. And, you know, for our listeners out there who are, you know, trying to understand what it looks like on the court or on the mat, or in real life, do you have like a moment or story that you think about when you know that the tools that you offered to a child or a group of children like really disrupted like the habitual response and really disrupted that and made a difference in what the child was able to choose or how they were able to grow? Any story come to mind you'd like to share?
Well, I have a story from a few years ago. I was offered a grant to go into an elementary school here in Park City and work with a group of kids that had been chosen to participate in some mindfulness. What happened was they basically chose the most challenging kids from grades K through 5. And there was like 10 to 15 kids, and I had 20 minutes with each one of them once a week. So, you know, this was life in action. So, so I really was sort of learning how to handle this as we were doing it, but I was teaching each time, you know, a different mindfulness activity that I thought the kids would have fun with and be able to kind of put into their toolbox. And, you know, going through each week and doing it, and the kids, you know, some of them are really into it. Other ones are, you know, a little standoffish. You never know who's taking it in and who isn't, but you put it out there and you hope something sticks. And one day, a teacher told me a story. I didn't actually witness this myself, but one of the teachers told me she was out on the playground and there were a couple kids from, I think it was grade 3, maybe, or 4, that were out on the playground and they were having a fight. I don't think it was a physical fight, but an argument, and stuff was brewing and they were getting angry. And these were kids that happened to be in my mindfulness class. And she saw them before she could even approach to try to intervene or see what, you know, to do next. She saw these kids talking and deciding to sit down together and do a mindfulness exercise that I had taught them. They sat down and did a breathing exercise together on the playground.
Unbelievable.
Yes. And then, you know, went on with their time. And, you know, that's where, you know, the stuff works. When children can take simple tools and make it happen, you know, pause, make that choice to respond instead of react, to see what feelings they were having, to notice it, and to decide, we can do this or we can do that. What should we do? And they did it together. And I mean, that's the dream, that, you know, we can grow up, our children can grow up having these tools that probably most of us never had, and yeah, make those choices.
I love that. And that, I mean, that speaks volumes about who you were in going in every week. And I really get what you're saying about, you know, some people like really were drawn to it and some people a little bit resistant. And what, I don't know about you, Randi Jo, but what I've also seen is sometimes the people who are the most resistant, like, and they may not be doing, you know, the flower power breath or hand hat or counting breath in front of me, but they're watching. And they're thinking about it. And sometimes then in that moment, it's like, oh, wait, I could try this now. But that's so great. And what I love that your story also points to is this idea of, you know, teaching these tools to children, to adults, to teachers, administrators, corporate leaders, having that space where to teach, to be taught, to practice it, And then all of a sudden, one day you find yourself, you're out there, you're at the grocery store, you're in traffic, you're in a moment with your dog or your family, and you notice that something's shifting in your body, like, or the heat, I call it the heat of anger, is coming up. And instead of that habitual response of maybe like yelling or whatever your freeze, fight, flight is, that there's that moment that you catch it and say, no, wait, I can be with this. I can experience what there is to experience, and I can manage it. I can stay present, and then I can respond thoughtfully. Right? So I hear all of that in the story.
The other part of that is that I'm noticing, like, even if you forget to pause and to make the choice, it still happens, right? You still get angry. You get angry with your child or with a situation or with yourself. But it's that noticing after and saying, wow, that was a moment where I could have paused and made a choice. Next time I'm going to try that, and I'm going to try to remember, and maybe I won't. But it's that noticing. I think that's almost like the biggest part, is like, wow, I just did that thing. And not getting angry and not frustrated because of it, the second arrow, but saying, wow, you know what? Next time I'm going to try to catch that and move on from there.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even I was talking on the phone to a friend this morning, and she was kind of joking with me about how, like, oh, like, you must never get angry, Beth. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, the other night I was like dropping the F word, and I was pissed, and like, yep, that's me. And what you're pointing to is exactly right. Like, it was like in the middle of it that I was like, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Like, there was no pause. There was no flower power breath. Like, boom, I was just like off the chart. But I caught it. And then it was like, and then I said to my kids, like, oh my gosh, like, I lost it. And they're like, yep. And I'm like, all right, give me a minute. And we were supposed to watch a movie. And my daughter Grace said, yes, so I bet you don't want to watch the movie now. And what I got in that moment was, you know, Mom, a couple of years ago, or even a couple of months ago, because I've been really practicing lately, right? I would have been taken out for hours. Like, I'm just going to be mad for a couple hours now because it's so helpful, right? But instead I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to choose to still watch the movie, but I can feel that I'm still angry. So I'm going to go to my room for a few minutes. I'm going to do what I need to do to calm down. And I'm watching that movie with you tonight. Like, I'm not going to let whatever happened 5 minutes ago keep me from a night with you. Mm-hmm. And it's taken a while to get there. Like, that was not an overnight thing that happened. But I think, and then also, as you pointed to, the self-compassion, and my kids' compassion for me has also expanded, which has been great. But there's so much greatness what you're pointing to, like learning the tool, getting it, you know, it's not like a playbook that you nail it every time. It's not about nailing it every time. It's about the noticing, the awareness in the moment. Mm-hmm. Doing your best, and knowing that your best changes from day to day.
Yeah, and right now I have some grants with a partner, and we're going into the schools, and we're teaching, we're facilitating a mindful schools program. So we're working directly with the teachers, and which is fabulous, because instead of just getting the 15 kids in one grade once a week, these teachers can learn the tools and affect all of the kids in their classroom all day long, and create that container and that languaging. But the cool thing with that is, when you teach the teachers, it's like the first part of the program is just teaching them how to have a practice. Yes. And in order for them to go out and to teach it to children, they need to feel it first. They need to have the practice, have some experience, and know the positive things that they can get from it, and how it can help them before it can help the kids. And I think that's been part of my journey, is that it really took a long time for me to have my own practice and to be able to feel it and understand it rather than just try to teach the words that I was reading, but being able to feel it and say, this has been my experience. Maybe you can relate to this. You could try this, or you could try that. But it's that learning first and understanding. You really have to have it inside before you can get out there and share it.
So great. Yeah, I'm so glad you're working, directly with the schools and teachers. When I started Yoginos 11 years ago, yoga in schools was like a bad word. Like, no, you just didn't do it. And excited Yoginos, we also have a program in schools, most. So great. So Randi Jo, I would love for you to come back and share more with us about your adventures in the schools. And then, of course, you and I will be having the Yoginos Yoga for Youth, Yoga in Schools training. Is that June 22nd and 23rd?
Yes, all day Saturday and Sunday.
And we're going to slide in some extra hiking, extra yoga off the mat, some of my favorite hikes are there in Park City, and some other opportunities. So you can check the Yoginos website, Randi Jo's website for more information. And so be looking to sign up for that training. It's going to be amazing, of course. And Randi Jo will be there and also be able to talk a lot about what's happening there in the Park City School District. And we, in fact, the school district is our host, right?
Yes. It's in
crazy
one of the buildings. Yes, and they were so happy to host it and help me get the word out to teachers in the schools, as well as parents, and trying to get coaches to come and therapists, anybody who's interested in yoga and kids. And they were really happy to host it, which is a nice thing.
Cool. Well, Randi Jo, would you close us out today, and would you be willing to lead us in maybe a favorite breath or a favorite pose, or just one thing we can take with us and add to our toolbox?
Oh, gosh, there's too many.
Quality problem.
Well, I think one of the things that I've been practicing that I love is just mindful listening. So just let's all do it together. So bring your feet to the floor, take a mindful body, sitting up tall, take a couple of big breaths in and out. And then just begin to open your mind's eye and listen for a sound that's really far away. Something you can hear that's really, really far. Maybe it's a car off in the distance or a bird. It could be anything. And then see if you can notice a sound that's really close by. Maybe it's the heater in your room where you are right now, or the sound of the television downstairs, or the breath that you're having. And then just come back to this space, bringing your feet to the floor, really feeling them connect to the earth, taking another big breath. And then open your eyes to a soft gaze.
That was really, really lovely and totally on the spot. Sorry. But thank you so much. So Randi Jo, will you come back again, share more?
I would love to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and appreciate you all listening, and we will catch you next time. Be amazing.
Thank you.